Well, since it's raining, I decided that it calls for, it's raining even more now, that I better get my hood up, that it calls for a rainy day project. So I'm gonna head in the shop over here and I'm gonna do some repair work on some of my smart fences that need a little TLC. I'll show you what I'm gonna work on in just a minute. All right, so today it's raining outside. We're getting close to end of season grazing. We probably have at least a month left, hopefully, of grazing. It kind of depends when winter comes around here in Wisconsin, but it's kind of the time of year where we're starting to wind down, but yet it's also like, it's good to take care of some housekeeping things. So today, one of the projects I'm working on is doing some repair work on some of my older smart fences. We've used these fences for probably about 8 or 9 years now. Basically since maybe year 2 of rotationally grazing with our goats. On our farm, we now have sheep, so we use them both. But it's all in one POLYWIRE reel system. So it has 4 reels. This one I'm in the process of repairing. And it has 9 stakes, 10 if you count kind of the handle unit that serve as the plastic step-in posts. And then you can also, the lines are somewhat adjustable. So some of these, they come at a set level, here, and you can adjust the bottom one, and I believe the second one from the top as well too. So some of the things I'm going to be working on today are actually probably similar approach if you were going to adjust the line on these as well. So these have been great for us. We use them with rotational grazing, especially in our existing pastures where we have perimeter fence. We will use them when we graze out in our hayfield as well. They work really well. They're super easy to put up and take down. And of course, like anything over time, they'll need a little bit of work and some repair job on them. So some of our older fences, I found that the top wire will sometimes get a little thin just because it seems to take more wear than the rest of the fence. So I'm gonna be, is this one that I'm repairing? Yep, on this one, I'm gonna be replacing the top wire. Sometimes as if I've repaired these, I will just pull it tight and I will just shorten it to that piece. But now I'm going to do a full repair work on this one just because kind of some of my quick repair fixes of just shortening it has extended its life, but I need it to really probably be the full length to be functional again. There's, yeah, that's kind of like the biggest one that I need to do some replacement or fixes on. I have a couple that I have some posts that broke and some like adding some more of these stake outlines that are built in here. Not the line itself, but the stakes and some handles that need to be added. A lot of this is just like normal wear and tear. A few things like with a post, that's my doing. Just to be fair to the manufacturer Gallagher, there has been, I have one that, I hate to even admit it, I like busted off part of the handle the way I had it mounted in my gator. So there's a few things that were like self-induced. As a farmer, things happen, you gotta own up to it and redo your repairs. So anyways, that's where I'm at today. I'm going to knock out a few of these. I have some more to take care of in the future. But to do that, there is a kind of smart fence repair list that you can get online. I will also link to it in the show notes below. It's pretty handy because as you do repair work, you go to take a look at what you need to repair, you can take a look and see what parts you need. And so most of these parts, you do have to contact Gallagher, the manufacturer, directly to order them, but it's really easy to get that. You just have to pick up the phone to do that. You might be able to email them, but those are kind of the two best pieces. I will say though, if you're going to replace the line on it, you can order that directly online, just because this is a standard turbo wire that is used for other fencing as well. So I'll get started and I'll share a few things along the way as I get into this. All right, so this first one I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be replacing it with some wire. So I've got a couple options of Gallagher's turbo wire. I'm using this instead of getting a standard poly braid from the farm store, just because I want to make sure that I'm getting the most conductivity on the fence. And the Gallagher's, I use POLYWIRE is kind of a generic term, but their turbo wire is way more conductive than your standard POLYWIRE. So I think their literature says 64 times conductivity based on the wires and how it's braided and put together as the wire. And so as having a effective fence for sheep and goats, that's really important to me. So, all right, I am actually there's a little knob inside this wheel here that, I'm looking over here, I don't right now. So there's like a little attachment inside here that the wire ties to, and I had taken this original one out because it had a lot of breaks in it and a number of knots I had put into it. So one thing I found as we have been replacing the wire on these is that instead of pulling out all the fence line and put it up and work on it, is actually easier just to leave all the posts in line here and then weave it through the top where it needs to go, and then start to fill it, start to refill the roll here as well. So now that I have it tied in here, I am just going to lift it up and start to reel it in to the fence itself. Reel it up. And actually, I have to be careful with my other ones. So these ones right here, because I need to reattach them, I'm actually going to grab the end of the wire on these ones, because I need to run these back through, and this one is actually already up here. So just so I don't get things tangled up and cause myself problems with the one that I'm installing, I'm just gonna gently tie these three together just so they don't become a problem. All right. And I'm just going to hold on to them right here, and then I'm just going to reel this up until it is about the same, the reel is about the same depth as the rest of these on the fence itself. So now that I have that strung through, I'm going to unknot this and string the last few through the post, the stepping post, and then I will connect it up all together. Since these ones have to come out through lower area, that's a little bit harder for me to connect to compared to this one. I'm going to do is I'm actually going to take out this this pin here, And as I take it out, I just need to be careful that I don't lose the inner parts, because that can kind of impact how it goes back together. So you just kind of need to remember what you take apart and where. So I've got that part. Okay, so I'm gonna carefully take this out here. Okay, so in each of these, there's going to be these spacers. So you just wanna make sure you don't lose these, otherwise they're gonna get, or forget where they go, just because then it won't function right. So I just like to kind of set them out in the order that I'm doing this. So we'll just on, and hopefully I can get it through here. Okay. So these spots to get through here, these little areas, there's a little tight, so I like to use, like, this is like kind of like a little pick type tool. You can use a small flathead screwdriver. You just have to be kind of gentle and know that it's gonna take a little bit of work to get in there. There we go. That worked a little bit better. Okay, so I got that one through. All right, let's see here. That one's through, this one's through, and then I just need to do that one. So now I'm gonna do is I'm gonna start to put these back in order. So these little black tabs are where I'm trying to put the wire through, and there's just a little bit of a hole that goes through there. So small screwdrivers I was talking about is where you got to get them in. Bring these through. I also, again, want to be careful that I don't let these wires get too loose, because they can kind of get caught in there. Okay, so I'm going to go through, I'll just move this through, and I'm going to string these through. So I'm just looking at this. I'm going to take, this is the middle one, and I'm going to actually just trim this end. All right, so I'm just knotting these just to keep them together as I put this together. But now I'm gonna put this back in this little connector. I guess I can tell you what it's officially called. I forget, it's like a metal splicer, braid connector. I guess I was correct on that. So these always look way better when you get them right from the manufacturer, but you want to lay it as flat as possible. You put the cover back on. We'll start these nuts by hand. And then you'll use a, let's see, remember what this was. I just grabbed it before we started. A 7mm socket wrench can be really helpful. So now I got that on tight. I'm just gonna do is just cut off these tails. If they want to come off. Grab my other snips. That way I can minimize any rounding out if it happens to be at the end of a fence. All right, so now I'm just going to wheel it in, and it should just start to tension everything in nice and tight.